The following material may contain sex, coarse language, and violence.
Of course! Of course!
After your final camp, was there anything you wanted to do in camp or discuss before you got to the city?
On the camp, the night before we reach Einvig,
Amongst the hills, the foothills.
I'll crack open one of those casks of ale and share it around. Just in case things don't go well in the capital.
What could possibly go wrong?
In the capital of this country.
I would recommend that perhaps for the best interests of all that Sulin and Adran do not go to the...
I was going to suggest the same thing, that if could be helped, we should not go.
In fact, perhaps, I do not know how well renowned you are.
I do not know if they could
Spider-Man.
know me by face, but certainly by my armor. So if I were to go, I would not don it.
I suppose that would be an acceptable compromise.
But
But I do not think you would be able to,
No.
or you would be able to hide.
if you would require a man at your back, I would be willing to go.
Why are we trying to hide?
You mostly because of your white hair and Sulin because of her yellow eyes.
And because
We don't
of your
want to draw-
past.
Yes, exactly. We don't want to draw any undue attention to ourselves.
And the high status of where undoubtedly they will take us. I'm sure we will meet with someone of high importance.
How are we going to handle this meeting with the big wigs? We're all going, right?
I think the first thing is we need to find out as much more about the law as possible, if that was possible.
If we've got some time, it would be good to gather some information from the city before we actually meet with them.
Do we know who we would be meeting with? Certainly not. The
I don't
Archduke,
know
but-
what the Archduke will most likely be there if he hasn't arrived already. I mean, he was well ahead of us. I'm sure he's already there. We will be brought for some kind of judiciary system.
Some ruling body.
Yes, that will determine the
You
The
keep
true-
saying Archduke when you mean Viscount, by the way.
Sorry, Viscount,
And you need
yes.
to be very careful about
True,
that.
sorry,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be your Viscount, yes. Yes,
Well,
so
I'm
it'd be
not
the
sure.
Viscount, sorry, who would
Yeah.
be there. I do not think we will be brought before the Archduke.
Depends on the sum and
But there's a lot. Also, he may be
Except for the
interested
type of meeting.
personally in the treasures from.
all the heroes.
If it's a matter of finance, it's most likely going to be Duke Heinrich. House Dragon, and he owns most of the lands around this area and is the chief financial advisor to the Archduke. And that's bad, because he is a complete cunt.
Oh, you know this.
I've heard it, yes. What we want, maybe we should pay a visit to Duke Hinrel. He is of House Remen.
Do you think we could use some of the funds we've managed to acquire from the slavers in order to get a good legal representation in our favour through him?
The Romanian custom is you do it yourself.
I see.
But allies will help, and Duke Hinrel is a good man, and he is possibly the next most powerful, though I'm not exactly sure where his standing is in the court, but he is said to be honest, and he's well thought of. He has a military career, an extensive one,
And if he
and even
knows-
his enemies speak well of him.
And he would know the laws and procedures of this well.
He's
correct?
a duke. He would have to.
That would be because for we are foreigners. I do not know the specifics. I only know so much.
I know someone who knows his chief advisor. I could try and make some inroads there if you want.
That would be most advantageous.
Right. Well, I'm going to need some gold for bribes.
Well, since Sulin gave you some last time, you might as well take this pouch that was taken from me, and I'll give her a pouch. I might as well erase it, actually. 250.
That's a bit much, but
But no,
I'll give you
it's
the
like
change.
use it however. Like you might as well just take that and
Righto.
because this is still part. We haven't sat down and split this up yet.
No,
so-
we haven't.
Given the current state of affairs, I doubt you will be able to regain the entirety of the treasure. It's likely you will be arguing for a share.
That's all we ever wanted, and
Well, we mainly need the trident.
that's the only thing that's really needed from it.
There was a trident?
Yes, it is the property of the cart owner.
Ah.
It was part of the conditions of his service to us. So we would essentially be reneging on a deal if we could not at least get that back.
Ah.
If things do not go our way, we will at the very least have to offer to purchase the item with what funds we do have. It's the least we can do, but hopefully it does not come to that.
Some ancient artifact from the part
Well,
stone
yeah.
would surely be expensive.
While you're seeing
It's
into
just a
these,
trident.
while you're looking into these matters, is there a chance you could also simultaneously look into
Stealing the
original-
trident?
No, the original reason we came here. If there is
Yes.
inroads you can make at the same time. Feel free to use those funds towards that as well.
Ah, so there is
I
some
think,
second agenda.
I think I remember. I know which areas to look in. Certainly.
If you need a hand of any sort, just ask.
Even if you are not willing to inform me of the details, I can help in any way.
I do happen to know the son of Talsman Tharmuba. I'll start there. But that's later when we get there.
Have you been to the capital before?
Never.
Oh.
Have you?
No.
You? Oh no, where? This is just brimming with success potential.
It's an adventure.
I mean, we only got arrested 4 times in San Ramirez. 4, right? It was only 4?
Didn't you lead a rebellion?
Well, that was after we came back.
I'm not even surprised.
Hey, it was successful.
Also, that was a rebellion against a rebellion.
We
So you were counter-revolutionaries.
Yes.
I'm sure you just stumbled into that adventure as well.
No.
It stumbled into them, from what I gathered.
Ah.
as I
Let's just
said,
say it may be related to those gentlemen that attacked us on the road on the way back from the bandit camp.
Ah.
as I said, we follow the wind, and mostly it's been storms.
Like those
Well,
foul
absolutely.
bastards that couldn't even do us the kindness of leaving us their gear to sell. How thoughtless. Bandits just
Well, you know,
and assassins just ain't what they used to be.
Everything that Roman touches, he destroys.
Yeah, this is really true. Well, so if you're all done with your preparations, such as they are,
I'll bind up my armor when we head out in the morning and bury it amongst the supplies in the cart.
alright.
And helm clever.
Ah, damn it. It's literally got its name written on it.
Yeah. I'll keep Lodesunder because it's not marked in the same manner. And
No, it's just really distinctive.
but it is much more an heirloom as well, and was lost for a large portion of time.
Oh, I mean, this is just a little thing. I will spend that last camp before we go in because I haven't done it for a while, just playing with scribbles.
You've increased your relationship with scribbles. You've increased your relationship with the rat arcana.
I was looking for one of those jokes.
Just fish
I
through
am
my
thou.
soundtracks and throw.
Thou art I.
Fish in the soundtracks and throw a piece of music in there from that. I still need to play 5. I hear it's.
You might as well just wait for Royal now because.
Rising from the plains, the sprawl of Einwig slumps against the distant mountain range. The straight road leads into the ramshackle, winding streets of the new city. Wide paved roads split off into hard-packed dirt streets and alleys. Housing, farmlets, and market stalls blend together into a sprawling array of narrow, high-peaked roofs of tile, interspersed with wood and thatch. Blue competing with browns, oranges, and reds in a riot of colour. Occasional whitewashed walls of inns and taverns beg for custom and attention. Tall windows and doorways meet at pointed arches, many standing open in the largely brick walls of their respective buildings. Skinny palm trees sprout occasionally near the streets, and grow in neat stands forming rows leading to the huge gates of the inner city. Rising above the middle are several towers, each featuring a circular clock face and a quarter of vigilant guards with long bows propped beside them, and long horns gripped in hands. In the streets, straight-backed guards bearing long polearms with triangular con take frequent glances up to the watchmen in the towers. The crowds break before them and reform behind. Covered sedan chairs borne aloft by bearers carry the wealthy through the throng. Merchant wagons trail small alleys of hired men, setting about them with cudgels when the mob grows too thick to break up the bustling mass for the wagons heading for Einford proper. The great stone ramparts of the walled city loom over the new city, all but hiding the high towers and mountains beyond. Occasional wooden or stone statues of armored men dot intersections, pressed back against the brick buildings. The faces of the working peasants are set and determined, not grim, but studious. Merchants beam with disingenuous smiles as they hawk their wares. Their clothing simple, pale, dyed trousers and jerkins, short-brimmed round hats protecting them from the sun. The soldiery in hard chest plates and ringmail, men of nobility easily identified by their well-maned woolen coats with high felt-collared necks and sleeve cuffs, tidy jodhpurs tucked into tight leather boots, waxed and oiled mustaches twitching in place of facial expression. These last are less frequent than others, usually making their way rapidly about what business brings them to the new city. And amongst this riot is our group of adventuring heroes, finally having almost but not quite reached Einvik, the capital. Hawkers in the streets sell their wares, announcing what trade might interest you.
Map merchant.
Yes!
You have maps of the city.
No. Of course I do! What a foolish question. It is clear that a giant such as yourself cannot see the fine wares from way up there! See, look at this fine map of the new city I have. A mere 200 darsecs. Which is a very reasonable price for maps considering they have to be handmade and arted. As previous map prices have been way too cheap and you are never getting them again.
Oh, it's 200 you say? I was thinking, 150 would be a lot more reasonable.
Whoa, 150! Thou dost surely be kidding! I have a wife and 9 children to feed. 150, think that would barely keep us in inks and parchments. You said you would impoverish us! There, 175.
Right on my charisma.
Sticking to that 150, are you?
This is not the only. You speak as if this is the only parchment map you have. I see plenty behind you there. 160.
All hardly laboured over. 160 for one of them? Oh, I suppose Given your fine role, given your fine handsomeness and the fear that I feel of your giant presence, says the man who probably comes up to your belly button. Alright, fine, have a map, 160.
And you guys to observe while I erase some coinage.
We'll be travelling through and trying to find an inn further in.
Yeah.
Trying to find an inns.
Yep.
The most expensive.
No.
No, we have to.
No,
I think
if we
here-
find an inn,
It has to be, okay, realistically speaking, yes, it has to be the best one we come across. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best one in the whole city.
as long as we find a
As we find
nice
out
looking
We've
inn.
known comfort now. We can't go.
Well, you've got a map with things marked on it by an even hand, and some things marked on it by an unsteady hand.
The future king, that sounds nice.
So you can look at this and sort of gauge where you were and go for it. There are also places that are not marked on the map. Obviously, the only places that are marked on the map are the people who have slid a few
Coins.
money to the map maker to be put on the map.
Some good marketing now.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, you want it
That's
to
how
be
you do
on
it.
maps.
I mean, I don't know if future king is an inn, but
It's one of the fabled twin inns of the gates.
If there are fabled inns, I think we know which
But
of
they
the
both
two.
apparently pale in comparison to Arok's throne.
We're not going that way, we're going to
But you won't find that
But
out
we have
until
the
you
map.
actually ask people about it. The streets are packed! This place is a thriving, bustling economy. Not like the Foregate in San Ramirez, where it was a depressing place where people had fistfights over whose pig that one pig was. Marketplaces stand cheek to jowl with residences.
So
There's like people holding up chickens by their feet and melons by their ears.
I'll just be looking out for different things, just markings and way things that people are interacting.
It's a bustle. There are many things. Many things I have. Lots of things. In this packed, tight community, perhaps nothing would leap out at you because of the sheer noise and volume. This is literally the biggest city any of you have ever been in. If you include actual behind the wall as well.
Which is why I'm keeping my stuff close.
In fact, I'm going to require some perception check. Actually, just you are the only one who can make this check, as my pickpockets proceed to eliminate your wealth.
They do quite well.
Just being on a horse doesn't really stop you from being pickpocketed.
In fact, it makes it easier.
Just nothing.
yeah, I mean the pouches are at head height.
And they don't do so well.
Somebody tried to pickpocket the wrong person.
He no longer has a brain.
And one off.
There's a scruffy-looking bent figure with a hooked nose, and he was quite close to the cart where suddenly he stops, turns around, and runs face first into a brick wall, and keeps doing it until his bloody mess slumps to the ground.
Is that normal in Einvik?
I don't know. I've never been here.
A couple of people look shocked and then steal all the things off his body and run.
He must have been mad.
So if anyone else wants to look for anything, then looking will actually require checks because this is such a bustling,
I'm just
loud...
looking for like somebody who would be reputable enough to ask about inns. Like,
Any of the merchants would look more reputable than most of the people in the street. There aren't too many shady-looking thugs, but there are some. Merchants all look a cut above, and I don't think you'll be stopping any of the nobles on the street, to be honest. I mean, you look like one, but you ain't in a sedan chair, so you're immediately suspicious. You could stop a patrolling guard. Or a witcher.
actually, I'm going to. I'll go to one of the armor merchants who was talking earlier because I want to ask about armor fitting as well. So I might as well kill
The
two
short
birds.
moustache twitches slightly at your approach.
Hello.
Nothing in your sight, mate.
I was actually wondering about getting some armor fitted that I have in my possession.
My boy could probably do it. What you looking at?
Go to
And your size, it's definitely going to cost you. His mustache
well, it was
twitches
originally
again.
dwarven armor, I believe.
Dwarven. Oh. My boy's good, but he's not good enough to work dwarven stuff.
Do you know
Sorry.
anybody within the city limits who would be?
No, I'm sure there'll be a fine Burmanian smith around here who can do it. But we ain't it.
Thank you anyway. You wouldn't know where the best inn to stay would be after
The best inn?
yes.
Well, that depends on what you mean by best.
The most comfortable, most amenities.
Oh. Arok's throne has the reputation of being too lavish for the new city. But if you can get in, it is probably more comfortable than most. If your good sir is seeking such things, perhaps good sir should go inside the city, where sirs other noble sirs are. Sir.
I am not a nobleman. I am a cleric of Tor.
Ah, religioning pays well, it seems.
It can do.
Ah, then Arok's throne is probably a bit too opulent for a holy, humble, devout man. Perhaps
Nonsense.
Hafan.
Nonsense. Arok's throne sounds perfect. Thank you very much. I'll join the others. I don't know
So,
who they want to, what other
The,
merchants they want to banter with.
all the like nobles are like really well dressed, right?
Like, uncomfortably well dressed.
Yeah, but it's like stylish, right?
Slick.
Are any of the tailors around selling that style of clothing?
Hell no.
No, yeah, I
Not in
figured.
the new city.
Nah.
In fact, what noblemen you do see are like, they're briefly here. Like, they're all, there's
Those
none of them
were-
just standing around doing it. They're passing through.
Those would be custom outfits too, not off. They wouldn't be like off the rack stuff.
I hate to tell you this, but in a medieval society, there's very little that isn't just like peasant garb off the rack.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all bespoke once you get to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll remain by the cart for now. Fear of getting lost. The only real waypoint in the throng is Sphera's big noggin sticking out.
Saphira's head, shoulders above everything.
Do you
else
see what
around
they're
you.
wearing? That's so stylish.
Very opulent.
You might have to consider wearing something like
I'm
that.
gonna get me one of those.
Good luck with that.
Well, we're going inside the city eventually anyway.
I mean, unless Roy also has some contacts within the.
She's disappeared and moved
Oh,
off.
she's
about-
already disappeared.
Oh yeah.
It is likely to take a while crafting something like that.
Also, you'd have to find a place that isn't going to turn one away instantly.
Especially one with your,
Yes, I believe Arok's throne is a reputable inn.
Was that what was suggested?
Yes.
Well then, we should make haste.
Ah, here it is.
About a mile away. The bustling crowd is an impediment to our journey slowly. You notice nothing. Except the light of the eyes.
It's very hard to
Well, that'll check. That's why if you want to see anything at all.
I'll do some just general like perception checks on the way. I guess.
Not getting robbed.
I must. So.
Yeah.
and mostly focusing on staying with the group and not getting separated. And also not running people down with knives. Every time, it gets a coin out of me.
Oof, more gather.
Get away from me, you peasants.
They say.
What is wrong with you?
You pass by an array of temples.
Oh yeah, actually.
It saves everything.
So I'm all out of coins.
Oh, I will need to go to the temple.
Particularly of Athatur, Namatia, Benadur, Crow, Soel, Chaos, Mur, so on and so on. Befarak, Tor,
One of the lesser gods here.
Tropsabor, Galafen.
When I run out of coins, which would be the first 14 beggars, I'll start handing out bits of my day's rations till I'm out of that too.
Bless you, sir. We receive +1 karma bonus for the day. I really hope you don't do too much of that, or your alignment could change up.
Yeah.
Then you lose the level.
Uh-huh.
How do you look?
Just go on. I said die from kindness.
Ignoring the temples, you finally stumble across Arok's throne, backed by palm trees and support buildings. It is right before a colonnade heading towards a massive gateway set into the high stone walls. It is a whitewashed stone building with a high-peaked roof. Its shutters are thrown open and you can see inside. It is...
Do we always choose the finest establishments?
No, we don't always.
Yes, we do.
I said we don't.
We do.
You do.
Ah, I see.
Someone nearby you will overhear the conversation and say, the finest establishment is not always the most luxurious, my friends. Some people find comfort in the Future King, or Shadow Hearth, or other buildings nearby. Do not be fooled by opulence.
You're
The
saying,
slanted-eyed gentleman will just melt back into the crowds jauntily.
I'd hate to think we weren't getting the best experience.
Yes, but again, those could be big, good experiences too.
You know, he could have been paid by the other ends to say that.
True. So I will head on inside.
I'll follow.
And assuming there's no, like, bouncer or something on the front that immediately stops anybody coming in.
There is a guard at the door.
Okay.
Guard at the door.
Don't you just want to kiss these lips?